Imagine a room that knows all your secrets. I found myself in such a room. Picture this. A wall filled with index cards, each one a piece of my life story. My joys, my regrets, my hidden secrets. This room was like a mirror showing me my entire journey, and it led me to some incredible truths about forgiveness and grace. Consumed with frustration, I pressed my forehead against the wall, letting out a silent scream of despair. Lost in uncertainty, I wandered into a space somewhere between dream and reality, finding myself in a unique room. Its only feature? A wall covered in small index card files, like of those in the libraries, but these bore titles of a more personal nature. As I approached the wall, a particular file caught my eye. Girls I have liked. Opening it, I was startled to recognize the names on each card. Suddenly I realized where I was. This dark room was a meticulous archive of my life. Written in my own hand, these cards detailed every moment, significant and trivial, in a way my memory never could. I was drawn into this strange catalog of my existence and flipping through the files with mixed emotions. Some evoked joy and fond memories, others triggered intense shame and regret. So powerful that I instinctively looked around to ensure that no one was watching. File after file revealed the spectrum of my life experiences. Friends I have laughed with, promises I've broken, lies I have told, kindnesses I have shown. Some were absurdly precise, like angry words I've hurled at my siblings. Others I couldn't even smile at, like actions in anger or harsh words whispered about my parents. Each card was a revelation, sometimes more than I anticipated, occasionally less than I had hoped. I stood there, overwhelmed by the enormity of my life's experiences. Could it really be possible that I had lived enough to fill each of those thousands, maybe millions of cards? Every card reaffirmed this truth, each inscribed with my own handwriting, each signed with my signature. When I explored the file labeled television shows I've watched, I was dismayed to discover just how much of my life encompassed it. Approaching a file marked lustful thoughts, a cold shiver went through me. I barely dared to open it, drawing out just one card and recoiled to the detailed account. A wave of almost primal fury overcame me. These cards must never be seen. This room must remain hidden. I must destroy them, I thought in a frenzied desperation. I furiously attempted to empty the file, to burn the cards, but they wouldn't budge. I tried to rip one apart, only to find it as being unyielding as steel. Defeated and utterly helpless, I returned the file to its place. Resting my forehead against the wall, I sighed in self-pity. And then I noticed it. A file titled People I've Shared the Gospel With. Its handle was noticeably brighter, almost untouched. Pulling it open, a small box, barely 3 inches long, fell into my hands. Inside were so few cards I couldn't count them on one hand. And then the tears came. Sobs that racked my body, born of shame and overwhelming regret. The shelves before me blurred in my tear-filled eyes. This room must stay secret. I must hide it away, I thought. But as I wiped away my tears, I saw him. Not him, please, not here, not Jesus. But there he was, and he was beginning to read each card. I couldn't bear to watch, but when I did, the sorrow in his eyes was deeper than I had ever known. He moved through the files, often stopping at the most painful ones. Why did he have to read them all? Finally, he looked at me with such a pity that didn't stir anger, but a profound sadness. I buried my face in my hands and cried anew. He approached and wrapped an arm around me, offering silent companionship in my sorrow. Then, he returned to the files, starting from one end of the room, and began to sign his name over mine on each card. I rushed to him, shouting, "No! No! His name shouldn't be on these cards!" But there it was, written with a vibrant, living red. His name, Jesus, written in his blood, covered my own. He smiled sadly and continued signing it. It seemed an eternity and an instant all at once. But soon I heard him close the last file and return to my side. He touched my shoulder and said, "It is finished." He let me out of that room, a room no longer needed to exist. Yet, there were still cards to be written, more of life to be lived, now transformed by His grace and forgiveness. This profound experience transformed me and set me on the path of sharing God's love and grace through teaching videos on YouTube, which resonated deeply with many of you. However, 7 years ago, I had to pause this mission. You might have wondered why. The truth is, after a decade as a missionary with Youth of a Mission, supported by donations, that chapter came to an end. Without the donations, I had to shift focus to support my family. Recently, someone asked why I stopped making videos. Upon explaining the financial situation, they generously offered to fund half of what's needed to reignite this mission. Now, I'm reaching out to you, my YouTube family. We need 200 donors to help bring back these transformative teachings. Your contributions will directly support the production of new YouTube videos each week, expanding our reach and deepening the understanding of God's grace for thousands. Your support means more than just reviving a channel. It's about reigniting a community dedicated to spreading the gospel of grace. And as a donor, you'll gain exclusive access to the Grace Gaze Academy. Here, you'll be part of a deeper, more intimate journey into God's heart with new monthly teachings that offer hope, inspiration, and spiritual growth. By visiting gracegaze.com/academy or clicking the link in the description, you can join us in this mission. Your contribution is not just a donation, it's an investment in a movement of grace and transformation. Thank you for considering being a part of this crucial mission. You play a vital role in spreading this message of unconditional love and redemption. The time to act is now, so visit gracegaze.com/academy or click the link in the description to join us at Grace Gaze Academy. And when you joined hands, let us know in the comments below by saying joined hands so we know when we reach our goal of 200 donors. Let's make a big difference together. Talk soon.